When the catch basin, like 12-inch.
Amboy City Council meeting, May 5th, 2025.
At this time, I'd like to call the May 5th, 2025 City Council meeting to order. Everybody stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For God and country.
Thanks, everybody. First order of business are the minutes from last month's City Council meeting. Does the City Council have any questions or concerns?
Make a motion to approve April 7, 2025 City Council meeting.
Do I have a second?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda are the bills. Okay, I'll bring that up. Patty, do we have any more bills?
I do. Brent Brown, $750. Steve Carson, $750. It's our monthly fee for them. UC Labs, $1524.33. And Casey's MasterCard, that's our fuel, $892.73.
And UC Labs was,
Our monthly bill for our wastewater testing.
okay. Do I have a motion to accept the bills?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second one.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. At this time, I'd like to close the regular meeting and open a public hearing for cannabis ordinance 115. Does anybody have any comments? Okay. This time I'll close the public hearing and reopen the regular meeting. Next on the agenda is ordinance 115, regular cannabis business.
You just need a motion to adopt the regulations regarding cannabis businesses?
If that's what the council decides to do, yes.
Yes.
I'd move to adopt, sorry, lost it.
If
Adopt.
everybody wants to look at subsection 7.
Gotcha. Ooh, I like that. Yeah. Use in public places.
Patty, do you have a copy?
requirements done by the people for the state of Minnesota first?
Yes, yes, no one can come here, I mean, someone can come here, but unless they have the proper documentation from the state that they've been approved and vetted, they wouldn't be able to open up a cannabis business here unless they've gone through the state first.
Under subsection 7, if there were to be an event license permit issued for adult consumption or use of cannabis, would that be similar to our permitting for consumption of alcohol at the fire station
Correct,
during, okay, so that would have to come through the city
Yes.
council months in advance?
correct.
Okay.
Do I have a motion to accept ordinance number 115?
I'll make a motion to accept ordinance number 115, regulating cannabis businesses.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda is bowling.
Thank you.
So we didn't have it, thank you for fitting us in on the agenda here. With this with fast moving project we wanted to come before you and talk a little bit about a couple other things that we're seeing. One is that when we first tried to look at deed in terms of the business development infrastructure grant, it wasn't eligible. Rob's development wasn't eligible because it didn't have some of the qualifying criteria that the application required. Later, Rob had indicated they're looking at putting a warehouse in, which is a qualifying piece of that grant. Now, this grant is a 50% grant, so you match it with money, and then you get 50% funding for it. We can also match it with Rob's money and get the money for it. But what we had to do is we looked, Shannon Sweeney looked at your audit and found out that you had some money set aside for a future project, and you have to demonstrate that you have money available for the project. You don't have to use that money, but you have to demonstrate you have it available. So we maximized your grant at something that was equal to that money that you had available in your audit, which was $835,000. So we put that as match. It doesn't indebt the council unless you're awarded the funds, and then there'll be an application that the council will have to review and agree to accept for it to move forward. But we had used this successfully in another community for a similar type of development that came in. And between the deed funds, the TIF funds, the tax abatement funds, that particular project, it was about a $1.5 million project. The city's total portion of that was under $200,000. We hope to do something similar here. We won't know the full numbers of that until we, one, know if you're eligible to receive the grant or not. And we're understanding that in 2 to 3 weeks, deed will know if you're eligible or not, and if they have the money set aside. The other complication for us to move this as quickly as we did is there's 2 projects on deed's list that are asking for this money, that if they stay ahead of you, they'll take all the money that's left. And there was a chance that we could maybe leapfrog one of them. And so that's why we went at a fast pace to get everything in. So everything's been submitted. It just needs a resolution by council tonight to actually finalize the application itself.
South Street, the South Street extension.
Is that the one that?
Yeah, we have this,
Number 5.
yeah. So it's on there, on the agenda.
Yeah, would you like to wait till we get to that one to do it?
No.
If you want us to look at, now, you want to look at 2025-5 business resolution now?
page 30.
Zach Ubani from our office is helping to accelerate getting this grant in. Fell ill tonight, so he stayed home, but, if the council were to adopt this resolution tonight, then it would be submitted with your application. Your application would be complete, with the adoption of this.
So the 18 months, is that the completion?
That's the money has to be spent within.
The 18 months?
Yep.
Okay.
And there shouldn't be any problem doing it with the schedule that you're on.
And so, yeah, the resolution basically
I
gives
have
them
no
the
concerns.
permission
Does
to
anybody
apply
have any
for
else?
the
Yeah.
D grant money.
Yeah.
I'd say move for approval of resolution 2025-5, innovative business development infrastructure application.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
You still need more, need them to approve something on this?
Yes.
Okay, then we go to this next.
Okay. Why don't I go ahead and I'll have you pass out some of the items?
Okay.
Okay. So the next item that we're going to talk about on the West South Street is that we needed to seek a evaluation from a geotechnical engineer to drill some soil borings where the proposed road is going to be tested, evaluated, so we get the right section in there for the heavy trucks that we want to propose to put on.
Patty, did we have those drilling already done?
I gave them, was it you? Somebody came and picked up that ginormous,
Oh, yep.
Packet.
So, yep, so that was for.
and they were reviewing for where the old dump site was.
Yeah, that was for the dump site report.
So you guys would need the boring east to west?
Yeah, it would be at it would be on the road. There'd be 2 locations on the road.
Okay.
And specifically, we needed the characteristics of the soil characteristics for holding the road, the strength of the road. That's what we needed for. Before it was looking at where the dump was.
Yep.
Now we need to know how much that soils will hold on the road.
Okay.
And how thick we need to. So we went and got out 4 proposals from CVT, Geotech, AET, and Braun. We have the 4 proposals here. We're recommending the city award contract to CVT for $3,130. We'd also like for council consideration is as we look at some of your sanitary sewer pipes and look at replacement of some of them, Rule of Government has a new rule that they'll replace the street section that you can demonstrate that you have in place, or they'll award you 4-inch of bit and 6 inches of class 5. In our, in all the communities we look at, when we drill, when we go down and look and do a little boring, we actually find our communities have a thicker section than that. And so when they bring in their grants for helping to facilitate and pay for sanitary sewer construction, they'll actually award you more grants if we can demonstrate that that section exists. And so we would like permission from council to do some soil borings in some streets that aren't related to the West South Street project in some locations to verify and validate what your section is for the preliminary act.
So you're talking West South Street?
We're talking about other roads besides West South Street.
Okay.
The other ones where you think we might need storm sewer replaced,
Sanitary.
sanitary.
So much of your pipe is lined,
Mhm.
but there's some locations that were never lined and they're old. We're gonna recommend that we open cut, replace them. And so then we reconstruct your street as well.
Mhm.
But we can justify that you should get more grant money because we looked at those soil borings at that time.
Makes sense.
So we're asking the city if we can go up to $6,000. We decide where we want those borings at a later date. But we would spend no more than 6. So what we're asking for is a council motion to accept CVT
As the contractor,
as the contractor to geotechnical.
up to $6,000.
Up to $6,000.
Okay.
So the 6,000 includes the 3,130
Yes.
plus your extra fees for doing the,
We'll just facilitate with our design.
right, with your extra.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this will be a contract between CVT and the city.
Okay. Okay. Do I have a motion to accept CVT's bid of $3,130 and not to go above $6,000 in sampling soils?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Good.
So we just wanted to bring this placard over, you take a look. So as the road is extending from here to here, you got right of way, the city right of way stops right here. And
Yep,
then the city owns this piece,
yep,
but then this gentleman or
yep,
whoever owns this chunk, and then this here owns this chunk, so we can't actually attach it to your road.
We've already a couple years ago, we've already contacted our attorney.
Okay.
And he worked with both people, Gruskowski's and the owner of Kevin Carroll's. I'm pretty sure that Kevin Carroll, or the owner of the Kevin's Repair, they agreed to, we traded some property, so we
Okay.
could get the thoroughfare, and then he was gonna take some behind.
Perfect.
And I haven't heard an update on Gruskowski. I did contact the attorney before I left on vacation, and I was gonna follow up with him this week to
Okay.
see where we're at with that, because he was working on getting that put through.
Okay, do you know if
a
it's
couple
been
years
surveyed
ago.
for that, so that it's, that we got the legal documentation for that right away? You know if that's been done yet?
it hasn't, has it?
I don't think
We
it's
haven't
been-
signed anything
I don't
yet.
think it's been finished, and so should I put our attorney in contact with you to
Right.
help work through that so we
Yeah.
can go forward?
Yeah, that would be
Okay.
great. Okay, we'll talk about the task orders in a minute, but I want to get through the other part. The other one that we wanted to look at is that we're finding that your storm sewer has a lot of different uncertainty to it, and we really need to do some investigation. We need to pop off these lids. We need to do some measure down. We need to find out what size pipes they are, what kind of grade they have on them. And then we need to work with Chris, and if we need to do some dye testing, they're going to do some camera testing. We would like to be down for that. But we're also finding out, so one of the things that we'd like to do is this proposed pond that's down here. So this is the site layout that we got from Rob.
Yep.
He wants to put his building here, his warehouse down here, which is one of the eligibles, and a storm pond here. We're gonna need a little bit of storm pond for the street. So we'll be combining some efforts in here. And then we gotta outlet this storm pond somewhere. And so Trevor here, who was working on the design efforts, found that we could bring it through this alleyway. Here is the storm sewer, but the manhole we're dumping it into has two 12-inch pipes coming into it and one 10-inch that leaves. And that's the only one we can find that we can dump into. So it's not very big, and we already got a couple pipes coming into it. So we just need to, like, not only investigate this for the road, but there's a number of other locations throughout town that have some similar, like, where is this water going, and how do we improve it as we start looking at some planning for these things. And so with your permission, we would like to do some citywide investigation, stormwater planning, figure out what the best way to move this forward. And if there's a way that we can get this improved along with the BDPI, such that the city's cost is actually less than what we had initially thought, then it seems like it could be a win-win. But we gotta have the right solution on the table to get this resolved. And this is a little bit of a challenge.
The only problem that I see is we're having flooding right here, right by the house.
Well, I was gonna ask if I could step in on.
Yeah, come on.
conversation. So, I am gonna ask tonight from Empire, because they gave us a quote to do some cammering and stuff on some of these problem areas. It got brought up the other day when Tim and Cam were here from the engineering company about running extra cammering down here to find out where this goes out there, where it goes into, where it exits, what have you. We could facilitate some of this in with more work with Empire if they're gonna be here, because they're already here. They could maybe say, okay, we wanna look at this, this, and this area. We could add that to it. If the council wants to do that, that would kinda kill all the birds-ish with one stone.
Because you're planning on, okay, this is the alley, so this is the street right here. This area right here is flooding. We get a lake every time. And then this is Pleasant Street right here. And way over here, we're having a problem over here.
And those are the areas that are already on that estimate that you guys have for Empire to come and look at. of
So
why
if
these
you were
issues
going
are
to
there.
go ahead and tap in with that storm sewer, I'm just thinking that downstream,
It's gonna be problematic.
on the south side of Pleasant, over on Bruce's, we don't have any storm sewer over there, and we're having huge lakes over behind him.
Yeah, there's already an issue over there, so
Yeah,
I don't, you
So
know.
there's two pieces of that. There's one piece of, okay, we gotta get ready for the development. Principally, we gotta get ready for this road first. Then we gotta get ready for the development. And the other part is we're trying to put this preliminary engineering report together for you to go after funding.
okay,
And we gotta know what improvement is gonna work here. So we go after the right solution in the report, so we can draw on the right kind of money to fix this solution, to fix these problem areas. And this is where we're struggling, is we don't have enough information to give you the right solution, because we're missing pieces of data. And we're hearing issues, but we gotta figure out the right solution to fix these issues.
That's what I'm saying, if you guys allow Empire to come and do the problem areas that we have on the estimate, you know, we could ask them to look at these other specific spots that they would like to look at also while they're here. Since they're already got their equipment here in town, we wouldn't have to pay them for another
Mobilization.
mobilization fees and all that, because their equipment's already here.
yeah.
So that way I could just call them if the council gives the approval and say, hey, these, you know, once you guys can send it to me and say, these are the other areas that we would like to camera or whatever, you know, we could get, you know, obviously get a price from them of what the extra cost would be for doing that. Unless you got something different to add to that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different pieces.
And they can talk with the engineering company about, you know, the engineering, like Tim and Cam were here the other day, they can work with them or Trevor and Brady and say, hey, this is what we want to do, this is what we want to look at, whatever. We want to go from this section to this section, or whatever it may be.
Is that something that would work, or was there a different solution that you were looking at and looking
Well, I
into
think there's
these?
two parts of this. One is that we have to get our guys on, and we need to pop these catch basins and these manholes, and we need to do measure downs and find out what size pipe is really down there, what's the elevation of this pipe. So that's one task that we need to do. The other one is that if we dump dye down, and we don't know where it's coming out, and we need Empire to come in and do some, to figure out where that goes, because they got something on their camera, they can tell where that pipe is at. We can do it simply with dye, it doesn't cost a lot to do it, so it's an easy way. But if we still can't figure out where it's going, then we need some help.
And then you're just dumping dye down for nothing.
And so there's kind of like, there's three parts. There's a road development, and then there's a global, what's the city plan for stormwater? And we need to have all three solutions, so we get the right solution on the table, and to make sure we're going after the right kind of money to fix the right solution.
Because you can bring all of these things together to get the grants for it.
Yes, now I want to be cautious that a lot of times stormwater is loan funding, okay? But we're going to be going after legislative and congressional money, which is grant funding. But we got to have the right solution on the table. Otherwise, we're going to waste money going after money that we don't have the right. We just want to make sure the solution is correct.
Yep,
Yep.
makes sense.
If we're gonna do it, let's make sure we got the right one on the table. You can always scale that solution back if you don't get the money you hope to get, but you don't want to put money in the ground and then that doesn't work.
And Empire's camera has, it's a locator, so they can follow where that thing is going. So they can just sit there, okay, this is where the pipe is, this is where it's going. You know, plus they can see the inside of it too, of, you know, is there something broken or collapsed or full of rodents or dirt or whatever it may be. And these guys will know where things are at that they need to know.
So why don't you pass those two task
Would there
orders?
be any money for I&I?
So for what now?
For I&I?
There is, yes. That's on your wastewater system.
Okay, but if you have a cross connection
We
with
can
the
tie it into
storm,
wastewater. Wastewater has grants. Stormwater doesn't. If we can
Okay.
tie it into wastewater somehow, there's grants that are eligible. That's easy to council.
I printed 2 copies.
What's that?
I have 2 copies.
Okay.
Can you make quick copies?
Right. So I had some task orders here, if I could just go over it. I apologize, we just have one copy here. So one was for 10,000 to talk to your attorney about the right of way. Now, if your attorney's already done some work, you might not need this.
Pen?
Yes, but we might not need this if this work has already been done. We need to make sure that you have right of way through here. So it's hourly, we only use what we need to make sure that we understand that this is set up. Because the BDPI grant needs to be, we need to demonstrate the city owns the land or has access, permanent easement to that land before they'll release the funds. So that's task order 4. And then the second, task order 5, is for the stormwater investigation. Again, this is hourly. This is for $24,000 to investigate the storm sewer system. These costs would be put into the planning effort, so as we get the funding, they'd be reimbursed
Okay.
back to the city.
so if we have Empire come in and do the camera in, and our guys do the measurements and the size of the pipe, would you still have to do this?
I would not, but we would prefer if we could do and open up those manholes. We can certainly take the help from Chris and your staff to do it, but we're gonna use this as a design basis.
Okay.
So we need to make sure that the measurements are accurate enough, so when we bring our survey team in, we're getting everything's matching up, and we don't have to do it again. Chris and his staff can help, the number goes to $1.
And this is just, these are both just estimates, it's
They are.
going to be time.
We wouldn't exceed them without council permission. That's. So we'd be asking for council motion for the task order 4, to work with your attorney to secure the easements to build West South Street project. And that's hourly at $10,000.
Up to.
Up to 10,000.
Well, it's something we need to get that project to go through, correct?
So do I have a motion to accept task order number 4?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And then can I get a motion for task order number 5?
This is for the stormwater investigations,
Yep.
hourly up to 24,000.
And this is only your fee, not the Empire's fee?
Correct.
But our guys will be helping.
Well, it's something that needs to be done.
Yeah, for sure.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Trevor handed out a schedule.
Yep.
This is a pretty aggressive stretch. We're trying to get everything done, especially with the DEI coming into play here again. If we get BDPI, we can't go out for bid until BDPI gives us permission, we're ready to bid. So this might be a little bit fluid. We're hoping to come back to council in June and request authorization to bid. So we'll see where we're at. But that's our desire. And then it would be constructed mostly this fall. And the final wear course would come on next spring. What we'd also be working on is a draft development agreement. And that is who's paying for what of this project with and without the BDPI. So we have 2 scenarios, and we can't wait for that to come through. We'll do both of them. And then whichever one we know, we'll know at that time before we can come back into council whether we were awarded the BDPI or not. And so the plan would be the BDPI, the TIP, and the tax abatement all working together for that. So that's the purpose of the draft agreement. We pull it together, and then we'd like to work with your attorney to just kind of get it to a point where the city and Rob could sign off
Okay.
on it, so everybody knows.
And then at the same time, we'll have the attorney for the land.
Our
We'll have-
city attorney.
Hopefully we'll have that figured out then.
Yep.
We certainly can't go to construction without that land figured out.
I thought it was 2. I thought we had talked about it before, but it must not have been finalized.
Any questions from council? That's all we have right now.
So you're planning, if everything goes through and the council approves, you're possibly going to break ground in July of 2025?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, the contract we awarded, then we'll determine when the contract has time to start.
Okay.
I just had an odd question. Do you think Amboy needs another lift pump in the low area to help with the water? We have 2 in town right now. Do you think a third one would help? And
Are you talking about stormwater or sanitary?
The lift pumps are sanitary, not storm.
okay. Can you get one for storm?
You can't.
Can.
Can.
Okay.
The challenge with one for storm is the storm event has a really high amount of flow initially, and so the pumps need to be just as big for that big high flow. Where if you could hold it back in a pond and then pump it out, then your flows are a lot less.
Okay.
So you like to use it in combination with a pond of some sort if you're going to pump.
Okay. Thank you.
But that is an option.
Does council have any other questions?
All right, then we'll.
I thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you for bringing us in at the last minute. Patty, I appreciate that. We'll try and get this resolved so we're not doing this so much.
No, I
Pretty fast.
get it, it's a quick project, you know, I'll be in touch with you this week with our attorney.
Do you need a copy of this? Of these?
Yes.
We'll look at this.
And you want the, with the resolutions on it too right away, as long as,
Yeah.
it's the one I have back, so here, and I'll fill in everything else for you.
This is CTs that you were talking about. Proposal. Yes, I have each.
Me or another council member, and then you guys are the witnesses? This one's, it was a different resolution, but that's the one you said you wanted me to use.
Yeah, you did.
I'm gonna,
Oh, I think you just need to put,
because it talks about the clerk and the mayor.
yeah, so I think this is just, you gotta date it, so now you're the witness.
Okay.
To the mayor.
Okay. If it's wrong, I guess he will tell me wrong.
Did you want to make a copy of that for your file? Or does he have another copy?
Want this one, if you wouldn't mind signing that one.
Okay.
And we can get this, send this to me, and we'll send you a copy.
Right, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
And then we can send that to CBT.
Yeah,
Send you.
that's fine.
Okay. And then I just need your signature on those. You did two already. But I just need these ones. And then
I thought that was task order number 5. Task order number 5.
Oh, yeah, he wants us to have a copy of it. He's mine. He's yours.
those are yours.
Thank you.
Yes.
Anything else?
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
We'll be in touch.
Okay, next on the agenda is the snow plowing policy.
I made the changes that we discussed in the last meeting. So if there's anything I missed, otherwise it should be as we talked about.
Would move to adopt the snow plowing policy as of 5/5/25.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, guys. Next on the agenda is zoning. Permit number 640.
Move to approve permit number 640.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We've already done this here one. Next on the agenda is Resolution 2025-6, fire relief on sale liquor. Do I have a motion to approve Resolution 2025-6?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next is Resolution 2025-7, fire relief, on-site gambling.
Move to approve resolution 2025-7.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next are the reports.
Chris and Don, something's different. Is there was no residue whatsoever that came through my pipes after you flushed hydrants. That's the first time ever. So something is very good. With our water.
was working really good.
Yeah. No, it's the first time I've ever, in 47 years, not seen residue come through when you flush hydrants. So,
You did it in 3 days, didn't you?
2.
2 days. Good job.
fantastic.
Well, to yours.
And I want to thank you guys very, 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 very much for letting us buy that valve exercising tool. Awesome. I exercised all the valves in one day.
Nice.
That's great.
That's awesome.
How many bad ones?
One that doesn't turn, that's right over here. Another one that, it started off really rough. And we kept working it and it's better-ish. We'll just put it that way, it's better-ish.
What?
We have 3 bad valves, one here and then 2 down and then.
Yep.
Yep.
And when do we have the hydrant doctor coming?
He's coming tomorrow.
Okay.
Fix the 4 hydrants that we got. We got all the parts for them ready, so.
Good.
I'm pretty
Compost
sure
looks
tomorrow.
really nice. I like that concrete out there.
I'm pretty sure it's tomorrow, hold on. Yep, tomorrow.
Good.
And H2O was here today. We got our pH meter deal fixed. Got that diagnosed and figured out what it was, and then we had with our anti-scale, we have 2 pumps for that, and they're supposed to alternate.
Yep,
We only had one that was running all the time. They got that all fixed too, so that stuff's
good.
kosher now. So.
You don't need a motion on this.
Well, we wanted to make sure that it was okay to do all 4. That's,
Is that the
you
Empire?
know, these are the worst areas
Empire, yep.
in town.
So we got the bid on there is for doing by like Karen and Gina's there in that corner, that area there, and then over by Richards, and then down South Street this year has been the biggest issue. That one down there by the duplexes. And then
You guys been down there twice or 3 times?
3 times. That one there, Don and I know that all the intake pipes that go to the manhole are fine. It's the exit that's not working. So
And you're gonna go ahead and have that?
We're just gonna have them go right into the manhole and into the exit to find out why that is not allowing water to move.
Good.
Because that one is not taking water, period.
Yeah.
So, like when we got that inch rain or whatever here, what was it, last Monday or whatever it was, you know, like down by Karen and Gina's there, that was taking water like crazy. It just, the pipe is so small, it can't take it fast enough, but within an hour, the street was empty, so it finally got a chance to go. South Street it just sits there.
Hopefully that problem will be resolved after they camera jet
Yep.
and back.
Yeah.
Hopefully that'll resolve that one down there.
Yeah, South Street should be,
I'm hoping that it's bigger than a 6
Yeah,
inch.
Oh, they're 12-inch down there. Down
Okay.
yonder, yes.
Okay.
But they're full of something.
Yeah.
like I said, that would work, if we can work it in with Empire, I don't think it'd be an issue to work with Bowling on doing that other cammering. You know, like I said, it'd probably save a little money because we don't have to pay them another mobilization fee, or them have their own company they like to work with come in and have to pay them another mobilization fee.
He was waiting to get approval before we
Oh,
let them
okay.
Saturday. In case you just said no.
Okay. Do I have a motion to accept the bid of $11,020 for Empire Pipe Services to camera, jet vac, and what else? Mobilization of crew and equipment?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next on the agenda is discuss having a special closed meeting with Urban Oil and Realtor. Pick a date.
Preferably in May so we can decide how to move forward. But I know May's busy with school activities. Is there like a Monday, not a Monday evening, like the 12th or 19th?
Not the 12th, please. The 19th, 19th would work.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw this out there.
I should be, there's baseball practice, but that, I should be back from the tournament, so.
The 19th would work for me.
Sure. 19.
Could we have it,
2
how
weeks from
early
today.
could we have it?
Right here?
I can,
I mean, do
Like
you want to do it at
6
like
o'clock.
5 or 6? I don't know what your work
5:15.
schedules are.
Oh, I could do 5. Yeah.
Could we do 5?
Is 5 good, or would you rather do like 5:30? Does that
5's
push
good.
it?
I can be here by 5:30. I just have,
Okay,
I drive the track bus back and forth
okay.
to the track and then back to the school. Practice is over at 5:15, so I'd be pushing to be here by 5:30.
So what time works best for you, Casey?
5:45 would be the earliest I can be here.
That's fine.
So
That works.
September 19th, or September, sorry, May
Don't wish our summer away.
19th at 5:45. Thank you.
Next on the agenda, period for open comment. We're gonna go counterclockwise. Aaron, do you have anything?
Not today.
Okay. Bruce? Chris? Patty?
You had mentioned talking about updating going through some of our ordinances to make sure they're more up to date. And my suggestion is that the people on the police commission committee, which would be Tom and Tiff, would get together with the chief
With Ben.
and discuss any kind of ordinances that we may want to update. To make them, maybe, I know Mapleton has a few better ones on maybe cleaning up yards and things like that. So I know you two always seem to work it out with sidewalk committee. I would hope that maybe you two could work something out
Sure.
with the chief, that if there's a specific ordinances or two that you wanted
Yeah.
updated or have them look at.
So a couple of things with the ordinances is vehicles that are parked on the sidewalk. So, we don't have an ordinance for that.
You mean like driveways, like they park?
No.
Or you have
But-
actual cars parked on, okay.
Motorcycle is parked on the sidewalk.
Oh, okay.
Another thing is, a dog chain. That the chain goes onto the sidewalk. So little kids, if they walk down the sidewalk and stuff, they might be scared, don't know. But I had talked to Ben about it. Ben was gonna go there and talk to them. But we just need to update the ordinance because it would be an ordinance thing. It's not going to be a
Like
police.
so many feet probably from the sidewalk itself.
Yes.
And then if you're actually gonna move forward with any type of fines
Hmm.
and things like that, because a letter
Yeah.
doesn't,
That's what I was wondering, like some of these ordinances, like, I know I looked up, we have like a dog bite ordinance, something like that. So then if somebody has a dog and it bites another dog or it bites a person or whatever, does the city, can the city fine, can the city,
That is that's a police issue. They have to
Okay.
take a report, then they turn around and file the report with the person
Mhm.
or the two parties, and then have to go to court.
okay,
right now they're following Minnesota state statute on dog bites and following forward with that. But for example, like, I know we've done the abatement with properties, but if you look at the list, most of the time it's habitual, and it's the same people every year. And at least in some cities, they start putting a fine. And right now, we don't have that administrative authority to move forward with that, so if it's not cleaned up by a certain date, there's a, say, for example, $100 fine. And then 60 days later, now that fine is a $200 fine. If they're not paying their fines, then it gets put onto their taxes. But we don't have that
We discussed
authority to
that.
do that.
We discussed that last year,
We did,
but
and nothing followed through. But if we're gonna do any ordinance updates, it might be something to look at. And it makes it easier for Mapleton to enforce our ordinances if they are similar to Mapleton's. We don't have to adopt Mapleton all the way,
Verbatim, yeah.
but there's certain ordinances that might come in, be helpful for the city of Amboy.
It's also helpful for all the officers if they know, they don't have to know two sets of rules.
Right.
If the rules are so similar, and then it just makes common sense.
I can contact
Constitution, and there's
the chief
Okay.
and let him know we discussed this, and then let him know that Tiffany and Tom are the two contact people to move forward with this.
Sure.
That works.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else, Patty? Tiffany, do you have anything?
Actually, I have one question about, so with Dollar General and all the landscaping and all of that stuff, are they coming back, do we know, and doing anything as far as
Seating?
seeding or cleaning up
Yeah.
or anything? Because it's,
Leveling the ground.
I mean, I don't.
Go ahead, Don.
I don't-
Yeah.
They are, okay.
Did
I
they
was
give
just
you a
curious
date?
if,
Did they give us a date, like by the end of summer?
Soon is what I heard. So they just redid some of the end of the sidewalk there.
I
It
saw
was
that.
down too
Okay.
low. They raised that up. Blacktop people should be here Wednesday to blend that into the new sidewalk elevation. And I mentioned to the Dollar General guy, I just talked with him about the landscaping. So he said that they should be here
okay,
relatively soon to sod, seed, level the dirt,
right.
hydro seed, stuff like that.
Okay.
Don, do you have anything else?
I might. I believe there's a dog ordinance here as far as your question, Gina. There is an ordinance for vicious animals in our book. So that's one thing I'd like you guys to take a look at as well.
Yeah, that's just what I was wondering is, you know, what, so the city, I mean, we have the ordinance, but the city doesn't,
Mapleton Police are following through
okay,
according to what the ordinance and Minnesota state law allows.
okay.
Casey?
I don't at this time.
Gina?
Nope.
Tom?
Just citywide cleanup, May 17th. The 3 dumpsters are
Yes.
coming in, or?
They'll be here that Friday.
Okay.
They wouldn't come on Saturday.
No, they'll bring them Friday because that's when their employees are able to bring
If they
them.
don't come on Friday, the stuff will be on the ground.
Well,
And I'll have to pick it up anyway.
I think,
LJP doesn't have the manpower to bring them on
I'd rather come
Saturdays.
on
That's why they're here on Fridays and they pick them up on Mondays.
the only problem that I have is at 7 o'clock Saturday morning, the dumpsters have a lot of stuff in it. People from out of town are bringing their stuff in and getting rid of it. So do we go ahead and, Don's the only one that's going to be working, or is it Chris?
No, it'll be done because Chris has a previous engagement.
Chris has a situation where you can get a game camera with an internet hookup from your phone. and
I
you
can sit out here all Friday night.
No.
Saturday morning when
No.
Tom shows up.
But
The amount that we pay is very minimal to the benefit that comes with it compared to when we did, even when we did it at people's houses. It's like double to go to the houses and having those dumpsters there, even though I know probably people from outside of the area use them. But we do have residents in here in town that probably fill up a whole dumpster by themselves.
so,
You want me to call Amanda, see if they will try to bring them Saturday morning?
I've talked to Amanda already,
You did
so
it.
no.
Okay.
okay, then we'll do what you said. We'll go ahead and put up a trail camera. And, you know, it's just going to be, hey, you can't be doing this. Or because they're dropping off mattresses and so the city has,
Last year was really good.
Yeah.
The
Did
2
we have
years ago, we
signs?
had about a
We have
dozen
signs.
mattresses, but last year with Don and the signs,
Yeah.
there was no mattresses and we have not had any issues with tires. 'Cause it's-
Not last year, but the year before, there was 13 tires.
So I think as long as we have the signs too, to
It seems to
make
help.
sure they know, no tires, no
Because
mattress.
this will be our 5th year of doing it with dumpsters. We started this
Mhm.
during COVID.
Mhm. I mean, I'd rather see the stuff go in there than sit in their yards,
Or out in the ditch in the country.
big bird
so.
pile. Okay. Miscellaneous, Like Tom said, citywide garage sale, citywide cleanup is May 17th. Citywide garage sale is May 9th and 10th. Appliance, electronics, and recycling is June 3rd, and the next city council meeting is June 2nd. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I forgot I was gonna ask about water softeners. Is that,
They're free. If you get them out of your basement and you let me know what's sitting there, that Don and Chris will pick them up and they'll be
I
disposed
meant
of.
like if you got them out for that, or should we not do that? Do you
Water softeners, can they put them in the big dumpster or just let you guys dispose of them?
Or do you want them a separate time?
Put 'em in.
Why don't you do it a separate time? when we-
Yeah, I would think so, yeah.
So, okay, so if
All I gotta
we,
do-
Appliance day, on appliance day, that's June 2nd. Right?
Third.
Third?
Good third.
They can call, Ken.
I'll let you know, if we get it out, I'll let you know. It might be a while,
I
if
second.
it's out. Yeah,
There's a whole bunch more here to sign.
if it,
Just keep signing.
Keep signing. Keep signing.
You might text about the,
yeah, 'cause I gotta.
Wednesday, the stuff that Amboy might be there.